What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Rail to Gutter. So today I got a special one for you guys. I'm gonna try and keep this one short. This one's gonna be dedicated to newer cyclists or people who recently picked up a bike and just decided to get it for exercise, or maybe you decided to ditch the car and start commuting to work. So this one's going to be dedicated to you guys. So everything that you see here in front of you is pretty much necessary to always have, with maybe the exception of one or two items. But let's just go ahead and jump right into it and let you guys know what you absolutely need. One of the main things that you're always going to need is some kind of air pump, or at least a CO2 filler if you can afford it, or if you can find one, or maybe you already have one. Maybe you don't need this bike pump, or probably don't need to watch this part, but bike pump obviously for filling up your your inner tubes and your tires, just so you can keep going. Personally, I use this one because it's sort of a mini floor pump. You can just twist it, pull the arm out, and start filling up. Just pull this out, start filling. Really easy, really small, really pretty light for a mini floor pump. And it also has a small gauge. I personally don't trust this gauge because I know it's slightly off by 5, maybe 7 psi, but it goes up to 120, and that's perfectly fine with me. I can just eyeball it, and that works for me. And this was about maybe 15 bucks, so pretty inexpensive. And you always want to have something like this in an emergency. It's better to have it and not need it than to not have it and need it. So yeah, definitely worth it. Next thing is you always want to have inner tubes. Worst enemy is a puncture, especially if you're commuting, and I've been there already. I've had moments where I don't have a spare inner tube and I get screwed and I'm late. So always want to have an inner tube, and you always want to have it wrapped up somehow. It makes it a lot more convenient, a lot more compact. You can use rubber bands, or you can use whatever you want. Me personally, I use rubber bands. Just keeps it nice and tidy, and fits right into my backpack if I don't have a pouch or anything like that. So really convenient. You should always carry an inner tube. Next thing is tire levers. You can't change an inner tube without tire levers. So tire levers, there's different kinds out there, different brands. I've used Park Tools. Park Tools makes really nice ones. I personally use the Pedros just because they're a little smaller. They work the same way, and actually this end here goes into the tire bead, pops it. This end here goes into your spoke. That's what holds it, and then you can just use your other one to start popping away the rest of the tire. And the other cool part is that pretty much most of these nowadays are fitted to sit in each other like Legos, so really convenient. And this one was pretty inexpensive. These are probably, if I remember correctly, they were like $5 to $7, and they were on Amazon. So the next thing is optional. Now, you don't need all of this, but personally I think it's extremely helpful to have one, especially one that's like a multi-tool that has multiple things in it. This one has flatheads, Phillips, it's got a torque wrench, has metric Allen keys that are pretty useful in pretty much most, if not all, road bikes. And I've used everything here. The most common ones that I use are actually these two Allen keys. These are the ones that I use for handlebar and SPDs. The other thing I use quite often is actually, this comes with the chain breaker, so I use that one probably every few months, so definitely super useful. The other thing is that this one comes with a tire lever, so I've used this as well, and that's mainly because there have been times when I only carry one tire lever, so I'll use the other one that this one has. So super convenient, inexpensive. This was maybe no more than 12 to 15 bucks if I remember correctly, and really helpful. Even if you don't carry it, you could just keep it at home and use the parts when you're servicing your bike. So super useful. Now these next three things are pretty much absolute necessities. If you are riding at nighttime, or even during the daytime, they are still very helpful. Now I personally use two rear ones. Now I only use two rear ones when I'm commuting. When I'm not commuting, then I just use one. And for my backpack, I use this one. I throw a rubber band on the backs right here, and I just affix it to a loop on my backpack. This one has two modes, static and pulsing. I usually use pulsing. There are battery operated rear lights. However, when I've used them, I don't like the fact that they're kind of dim. They're not as bright as these LED ones, so these are a lot more convenient, and also for the fact that they are rechargeable. So you can just take them off your bike, your backpack, whatever, and just charge them really fast. So super convenient to have rechargeable ones. Now this one goes on my bike, and this one's got this rubber loop on it. Super convenient, just around the seat post, and you're good to go. This one comes with multiple modes. There's an SOS mode on there, and there's like a double or triple beep there, or a triple flash I should say, whoops. And turns off really easily. When I'm charging, this will let me know when it's ready to go. And again, it is chargeable right on the bottom. And the front light, I'm not going to turn this on because this is extremely bright. This is about 800 lumens. Of course, you don't need that, but this one and this one came in a pack for about $30. This light over here was maybe like 7 or 8, really inexpensive as well. And like I said, 800 lumens roughly, if I remember correctly. Yeah, 800 lumens, IPX6 waterproof. And this is meant to be mounted on the top of your handlebar like this. I personally don't like it like that. I use it towards the bottom. I twist it around, and this is how I use it. Multiple modes on this one, and this is probably my most important tool when commuting back, because this is obviously going to be the difference between a car seeing you, whether you're riding behind the car or in front of it, and there's opposite traffic coming to you. So super useful and very, very necessary at night for obvious reasons, you know, safety. You want to get home, right? So definitely recommend that. Now this one is optional. You know, this is just a bike holder. There's multiple mounts out there. There's nicer ones. There's a quad locks. Quad locks are 30 to 40 bucks. If you have that money, I would definitely go with a quad lock, but if you don't, you could just go with this one. Maybe you don't want to have this, or maybe you just don't want to have your phone out on the bike when you are commuting or just riding it. So you could use this for a trainer. I mean, really inexpensive. This thing was no more than, I believe, $17. And this is all aluminum. Not the lightest thing in the world, but extremely useful. You know, what if you don't want to buy the quad lock because you spent like $500–600 on a new set of wheels? Well, just get one of these. It's, again, not the lightest thing in the world, not the prettiest, but it's also, you know, not the worst. This does work really well. It just, you know, affixes to your bike right here with these 2 Allen screws, and it fits really nicely. I've tested this out multiple times, and it just clamps down on your bike. If you need to loosen it out, just loosen it out. If you need to adjust the angle, just go ahead and pull this thing, and you can just affix the angle however you want. Me personally, I actually like tilting this a little bit on the handlebar and just kind of having the phone kind of aligned with the handlebar and straight. So yeah, I'm trying to save a couple watts even on a crappy setup like that. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure some of you guys are thinking like, okay, so what the hell do you put some of this stuff in, right? Well, the only things that don't go on the outside are these 3 things right here. And you could use a saddlebag if you have the space for it on your bike. Me personally, I don't. I have rear view cameras or a camera, so I can't use that. It doesn't really work that well for me. So what I use is, I only carry 1 water bottle anyway, so I just use one of these. These are pretty inexpensive. I think this one was like 10 bucks. I got this at REI. And you just pop everything into this little bag right here. Just pop everything in, close it up, and throw it in your water bottle holder, and this works just fine. And randomly, tape. So I'm pretty sure you're probably wondering why tape. Well, tape comes in handy for everything, and honestly, I've used this for an inner tube in an extreme emergency. Now, of course, optional. You don't have to have this, but you know, it's good to always have tape. So that's pretty much it. That's all I got for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and leave comments, man. I'm always open for, you know, for something that I didn't include in the video, or, you know, maybe some information I don't know. That's it. That's all I got for you guys. I'll catch you guys at the next one.